Hi everybody, I'm back for video 123 of 365. I'm Samantha and I'm a therapist and I'm doing a video every day for a year to get over my fear of public speaking and social anxiety. And it has been a long day. It's about, I don't know, like 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time right now. So I'm going to upload this here in just a little bit. It's been a long day of sessions. This is my longest day that I've had in a long time. So my brain is on fire. So I'm still doing this video. 123, haven't missed a day yet. And I got a text from a very close person in my life asking me a question, and I thought this is what the video is going to be about tonight. And they don't know that I am doing this, so I'm going to make it a surprise. So what do you do when someone triggers you and you feel just like disgusted by their behavior and you just can't get off of it? So we have to remember that we are telling the old story every time that we're going back and rehearsing what this person did. There are so many angles to look at this. So I'm going to try to keep it like as simple as possible because there's so many ways I can take this. So I look at it like everybody is giving you a gift. So they're in your reality for a reason. And if it is a close person to you, a specific person, so a specific person can be, most of the time when you look up SP on YouTube, they're talking about, like a lover that you're wanting. And, or a specific person can be anyone, literally. So it can be a family member, a friend, or a lover. And so if it is a family member, for instance, especially if it's a parent or a sibling or just any family member, but a parent or a sibling is probably the most triggering because you have tons of history with this person. Or if you have a specific person that you have been with off and on for a long time, that can be very triggering as well because you have a history. So it's all about the word history. You've got past with this person. And so, no matter what happens, it's like even if this person were to go away, like say they move away to a different state and they come back, it's like that energy is still there because it's never really changed because you haven't changed. There's a mic. You haven't changed internally. That's all that it is. And so, because remember, there's no one to change but self. So as you shift internally with things that have nothing to do with this person, this will resolve in some way. So I look at it like either they will shape up, or ship out. See, my brain's not working. They shape up or they ship out. So they match your frequency or they don't. And so you have to create the frequency that you're wanting. You have to create what you're wanting and you have to figure out what you want. How do you want to feel? Because anytime we go down the road from the past that has to do with this dynamic that was created so long ago, we know that if we go down this road, we're touching the hot stove again. We're saying, oh my gosh, I'm touching the stove again. I'm replaying this old story again. This person reminded me of this old story so many times. It's been so ingrained in me for so long. And it's like reactivated every time it's thought about or spoken about. And so, first of all, it's acknowledging what is being triggered in me. What is this feeling that I'm feeling? And why did that trigger me? What about that triggered me so badly? What did this ignite in my body and in my mind so badly that I'm feeling bad now? And I'm feeling disgusted, and I'm feeling this, and I'm feeling this. And I'm feeling resentful and I can't let go of this because it's just replaying in my mind over and over again so much. And so we go back to the addiction to old thoughts, the addiction to the old self, the addiction to the old way of doing everything really that's surrounding this person. And so I like to take the person out of it now that I'm more educated in this stuff because when we try to like look at why a person is doing something. Of course, I'm a therapist, so I'm always having to look at the why is this person doing this and all this stuff. And it really is just very confusing sometimes. And it is very, I look at it kind of like a waste of time, actually. It's futile effort to look outside yourself. If we can as a society train our minds to go within and use our imagination for what it was probably given to us for in the first place, which was to create really great things instead of replaying old stories all the time, we'd probably be a lot better off. So my whole thing is, let's create peace inside us first, and then we see what happens on the external. You know, we don't try to fix the external. There's really no reason to dissect a person or even a relationship. It's more like, what got triggered in me? Why did it get triggered? What feelings did this bring up in me? What emotions from the past did this bring up? What is this linked to that is still living in me? Because we don't get triggered by people unless there's something living inside of us that is still able to be activated. And so if a person triggers you, you're activated. It's like it flipped on a switch and now you're not feeling good and you've given this person all your control. All of it is gone at that point because we're focused on this person's behavior and how it's making us feel so badly. And so you want to validate your own feelings, because really nobody's going to validate your feelings except for you at this point, you know, or a therapist will validate your feelings, or your best friend will validate your feelings. They're very, very important. So yes, it's understandable that we let people, you know, mess with us. We really do. It's so understandable that somebody does something, we don't like it, and it makes us feel a certain way. And so, and that makes sense. That is logical, but it doesn't make us feel any better. And I feel like it helps us understand some certain things. But the reality is that when we start to shift into this, I call it like an advanced mental diet training almost. It's like, this is advanced. This is not how normal society thinks, you know, to just like go inside your mind and have these inner conversations on purpose with people like you're pretending. That's not what the normal people in what's normal? Normal people in society do, except for kids. They pretend and they're pretty happy in their own world, you know, and we could take a little example from them. But when you've got a story so old with somebody for years and years and you have to be around them, you know, the medicine for that is to remember who you are is a powerful, powerful being that is creating all of these experiences that are going on outside of you. And if you can just remember that I wonder why I would create this experience with this person. Why would I even do that? What would that be? What's that about? And then what is it triggering in me? And what belief have I attached to that? What have I made this trigger? What have I made that mean about me when this person acts this way? You got to look inside, like, how does this mirror me? Am I doing these things to myself? Or am I like, let's say somebody is just rude and offensive. They're just rude. And not saying that you're rude, but it is something to think about. Like, am I rude to somebody? I don't know. But I wouldn't even worry about, am I rude to other people? I would say, am I being rude to myself at all? Am I being disrespectful to myself? Am I offending myself in any way in the way I speak to myself, or the beliefs that I have that are totally not true about myself, that are self-deprecating? I just go back to self every time. That's what I've been doing. Because as soon as you shift your internal world, the external will change, because you have to have faith in your own power. That's where we lose it. We have self-doubt in our own power, and we don't know how powerful we are until we actually make that internal shift. And I think a lot of times we use our external world as an excuse to abandon ourselves yet again and not examine what's going on inside. And because it takes time, and it takes like looking in the mirror, sometimes literally looking in the mirror and being like, okay, what is this? And connecting to oneself and actually figuring out, what do I believe about myself in regards to this trigger? Like, what am I making true about myself when it comes to this? It could be tied to something from when you were 4 years old. We just don't know. And you don't have to change all these beliefs necessarily to shift your identity, but you could use this as an example. Like, okay, this is an example of somebody that I am letting take my power away. It is causing a feeling inside my body. Where am I feeling this? And acknowledge it. And then we can process it in the correct way, which is, well, this is just somebody triggering me. If I'm creating this situation through my imagination somehow, and it doesn't matter even how, we could just say that if I created this, then how do I shift this? What could I do here? And it's all about going inside the mind. I recommend inner conversations for everything and revision. So revision is you're going to revise the conversation you had with someone or an event that happened. You can revise it in your mind. This is how powerful the subconscious mind is. We've got to permeate it, and it's best done right before you go to sleep. Is you come up with the scene that maybe happened today or last week or 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and you create the scene exactly how it was. You see it, and then you make it be the way that you wanted it to be. If you could give it any sort of outcome, you just imagine that in your mind for 30 seconds at the most. It does 10 to 30 seconds, literally, just a quick little scene. And then fall asleep to that. That is Neville Goddard's state akin to sleep. And it's the time between wake state and your sleep. It's like, they call it the drift. So you're drifting off and your brain has slowed down enough to be able to kind of take in these kinds of thoughts. And so try that as one thing you can do. And then the other thing I love, love, love to do is inner conversations. So go inside your mind during the day, have conversations with these rascals that are taking away your power, because that's what's happening. And they're not taking it. You're allowing them to take it. And so then you ask yourself, why would I allow somebody to take my power away? Why would I do that to myself? Maybe I'm used to feeling powerless. Maybe I'm used to feeling small. Maybe I'm used to not respecting myself. Maybe I'm used to pleasing others and not pleasing myself. What is it that you're doing inside that you need to change that might affect whatever's going on? There goes my light. It is dark. Well, it must be time to go. Well, I'll end this. You guys just keep taking care of yourselves. Go within yourself, and you can do this. And I love you guys so much. I will be back tomorrow for 124. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you later. Bye.